Not
Yeah, how's it going, bro?
Not running. Not running Dio, but
no, it's the other one. But I got my nickname because of Ronnie James Dio, by the way.
You did?
Yeah.
That's,
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, it's cool to see you, man.
Hey, man, good to see you too. Jesus, I never ever thought that we'd be talking, having a chat 40 plus years later.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah, man.
And I mean, what you guys are doing is amazing. I mean, like, I wish I knew this was going to happen because I'd have kept a lot of the paraphernalia from back then.
Before you stop, can you just tell us how you got your nickname because of Dio?
Okay, I'll tell you exactly how it happened. Okay, so first of all, so this must have been, this was like early days Tyrant. So I'm assuming it was like late 83 or early 84, somewhere around there. I'm not 100% sure, but somewhere around there. And we were actually a bunch of us, well, the band Tyrant and a bunch of, so, Chris, obviously, everyone in the band. And a bunch of you guys actually that were there. Like we used to do the Golden Banana video watching. We'd watch heavy metal videos on the Sunday afternoon or whatever it was, and we plug the video machine in through the PA system that the band used the night before. And actually at that stage, I think it was Black Rose's equipment that was on stage. I'm not 100% sure. There's a big massive PA on the thing, and then people just had trouble pronouncing my name properly because my name is Duarte. I'm Portuguese, so Duarte is for me it's real easy, but for English-speaking people, like it's a bit of a tongue twister for a lot of people. So they were calling me anything from Do It to Duat to Duat to all kinds of things. I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. At some point, someone started calling me D, just D for short, and then on one of those afternoons that we were watching heavy metal videos, because I mean, obviously we were like, hungry for all that kind of stuff. So whenever someone, came back from the UK or America or whatever, they'd always bring videos, and then we just copied all of them like a million times because then this was like a headbanger hangout, and we all hang out and we're actually watching Ronnie James Dio, a live video, and then just someone that was there, I cannot remember who, kind of looked at me. Obviously, I had very long hair then, and he's looked at me and says, "You know what? You look a lot like Ronnie James Dio. From now on, I'm going to call you Dio." And I thought, cool, because I always had a problem every time I say, "What's your name, Duarte?" And everyone's like, "What?" So I said, "Oh, cool, man. That solves my issue over here." I've got to say, man, I think by the next week, I mean, everyone that I met, even people that I didn't know from before, they were just calling me Dio. It just spread like that. Eventually, wherever I went, Dio, and that's it. I've been using that name now since then.
So you've officially changed your name to Dio now?
No. Just like, in terms of like, I mean, my Facebook profiles and all online stuff and anything to do with music is just Dio Santos. I don't use my real name. I haven't used my real name for like 40 plus years, unless it's for documentation, legal stuff, obviously. Yeah. Otherwise, just been Dio Santos.
Wow, sweet, cool story.
Good afternoon.
I guess Black Rose was one of the first. And then all the bands like Tyrant Unleashed and Gary and all these guys sort of.
Okay, so listen, I mean, this was a long time ago, and I was like, young, obviously, and trying to get into the scene. Black Rose was there before us, definitely. And then the Tyrant, I'm not sure exactly when it happened in relationship to Black Rose and other bands, but if my memory serves me correctly, Tyrant, when I joined, it was either late 83 or early 84. Had to be around that time because I went to live in SA in 82, September, and I would assume that it would have taken that amount of time before I was ready to go audition for bands and stuff like that. And so I would say Tyrant, late 83, early 84, I joined, and I again guessing a little bit, but maybe not too far off the mark. Tyrant lasted about a year. We did a whole bunch of gigs, no real recordings or anything. I think we did do some demos at some time. I remember recording at someone's farm. I don't have copies of that at all. I mean, I don't know what happened to those copies. And we did basically like a lot of live shows, and we did the whole Golden Banana, like the Black Rose and stuff. But we came after. But so I mean, I remember being in the audience and checking Black Rose out, and then going, "Oh man, this, this." I mean, there was just the sound that Black Rose had. There was unique, but a good unique, not like these guys are unique, but no one likes them. I mean, these guys were a unique sound, but like people loved it. And so I remember a lot of that stuff, and I remember, so just going back to Tyrant. So then I wanted to finish that story from earlier. So one of our gigs that we did, so one of the songs that we had was called "Kill the Devil," right? And it was like quite a fast, like guitar riff kind of vibe, like up tempo kind of thing. And so basically the lyrics were like something: kill the devil, save the devil, whatever. I can't remember the lyrics. But we get this gig at this place that this was what I was saying earlier. Which just goes to show that how heavy metal was kind of like not necessarily accepted in some circles. So we played the roughest joint, or one of the roughest joints, Live Wire, and we were supposed to do like a guest appearance and play like for 30 minutes, whatever it was. And we opened up with that song. I'll never forget this. We opened up with that song, "Kill the devil, kill the devil, kill the devil, kill the whatever." And we didn't finish that song. And the owner of the club, or one of the people in charge there, came up to us and said, "Guys, that's it. You guys are out of here. Like one song, you guys are just too heavy." And I remember going, "Wow, this is like weird. I mean, this is like a heavy joint. This is like a heavy place. That's like everything. It's heavy, and we were too heavy for that place. I mean, at least that song was." So that was like the vibe. And then obviously we played other places where people were actually very, very supportive. And then so yeah, I mean the band went through a few personal dilemmas, I guess. And then so no professional recording, just demos.
Sorry to interrupt you again.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the facts. So I'll name the bands again: Black Rose, Lynx, Montreux, Tyrant, Osiris, Unchained, Razor, Pentagon.
Yeah.
Out of the first wave of metal, the only band that actually released an album was Black Rose.
Correct. Yeah.
That's kind of sad, eh?
Yeah, it is sad. I mean, I'm not too sure. I mean, Razor, we were all friends. We all rest in the same building, pretty much. So Razor, we were all friends. I mean, yeah, they never got to record anything. We never got to record anything. And then later on with Lynx, we actually did get a record deal through Gallo, right? But that never materialized. That never went anywhere because I'm not 100% sure why nothing happened there. But
Chris probably pissed everybody off.
No, but in Lynx was a different lineup. So Lynx was Tony Granger, initially Mark Proctor, and again going back to what Rolf just said, Mark Proctor was a seriously unique, lovable character who could just never be on time for anything. Like ever, that was just Mark Proctor. I remember we had a photo shoot once, man, for Lynx, because we were getting involved in some promo stuff and whatever, and like we were supposed to be doing a record, at some point, and so we had a photo shoot and blah 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 whatever, and who's not there for the photo shoot? Mark Proctor. So eventually, like the photographer and the team that was there, I don't know, I can't remember half the people that were there. They kind of said, "Okay, listen, we got to do this, man, because we're on a time schedule, or we got other shit to do. So if your bass player doesn't rock up, we just use someone else that's from here for the photo shoot." And it's just a photo shoot. That's it. So anyway, and we kind of said, "No, we got to wait. And eventually we waited, and eventually Mark Proctor does arrive. So back then, around this time, he rode around on a Yamaha. I think it was like a 1.1 cc Yamaha, whatever it was, motorbike. And so he arrives eventually, and he's got the black leather jacket, the biker leather jacket and everything. And anyway, so now, because there's so much pressure, and the photographers, they just want to do this gig and get out of there. And we did the photo shoot, right? Hardly any of those photos were used afterwards because Mark Proctor had a shifting spanner in his pocket. So Proctor's excuse when he arrived late was like, "Oh man, you guys you guys just, you'll never believe what happened to me. And that was the funniest thing, because Proctor always had the best excuses, and and we always forgave him because the excuses were just, I mean, it was just beautiful. I mean, you'd love the guy. You'd be personal him on time. Eh?
We talk about Lynx here. Eh?
Yeah, Lynx. This is Lynx, yeah.
So the only person I know absolutely fuck all about, I mean, Tony Granger, Dio Santos, Sergio Saraganese, Clark, is Dave Hussey.
Okay, so Dave Hussey, let me tell you the story. I mean, Hussey joined Lynx. Can't remember how it happened, but he joined Lynx. So Dave Hussey was one of those super talented guitarist, young guy. I think at that time he was like, at that stage he was like 19 or something like that. And he could just like, listen to like a Van Halen kind of thing and kind of by ear kind of work it out. But like super fast, like, okay, that's what he's tapping, that's what he's doing. And like kind of go, okay, that's it, He had a good sound, he had everything. So he was like a really talented guy. And in fact, that song that the Lynx eventually had the video made, which was going to be to promote the album, which obviously it never happened. That was actually, Dave Hussey had a lot to do with writing that song. Tony Granger kind of had the vocal melody put together, but Dave Hussey had the riffs and all that kind of stuff. And we all jammed that song a bunch of times, so it eventually became like a song. So Dave Hussey was a really talented guy. But the thing with Dave Hussey was also like he was unbendable, unmoldable.
Unmoldable.
He had a firm, at that age already, he had a firm kind of like, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, don't ask me to do anything else because I won't do it, I'll refuse to do it. So anyway, as time went by, the band started kind of falling apart. There was some, again, ego trips, and Tony Granger and Sergio and, who's the boss and blah, blah. And Dave Hussey just didn't follow anyone's orders. He was like, I don't do what you want me to do. I do what I do. Do
you think that's because he was just he was stuck into the way he could play and he couldn't actually play other stuff, or?
Oh, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it was just a personality thing. Because I'll tell you what, then I met him. I actually lived with him in LA later on, and he was just. I think he had. He had a picture of how things should be, not how things could be or would be, just how things should be. He had this mental image of, Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was the best guitarist in the world in his mind, and Jimi Hendrix never studied guitar with anyone.
So basically the only lineup changes, if you look at Lynx to Tyrant, was Dave Hussey disappeared and Mark Nipper came into the scene.
No, the other way around.
Oh, yeah, the other way around. And Chris, obviously, Chris left too.
Chris left, and then Proctor joined. Otherwise, it was the same. So Tony Granger, myself, and Sergio on vocals. We were in both bands. So the reason what happened was Tony. Actually, this was like a Tony Granger kind of branch. He wanted to carry on with the rock kind of vibe, but he wanted to be like a little bit more commercial. He didn't want it to be as heavy. So in his mind,
was advertising career.
Yeah, correct. So in his mind, he's like, okay, if Chris is not part of this thing and Mark Proctor is not part of this thing, we can make it more commercial, more rock, but not heavy. So I mean, that's as far as I remember. The event, the way things happened.
So Dio, when did it all fall apart for you between those two bands in ZA?
Well, I mean, things just collapsed, So the changeover from Tyrant to Lynx was kind of manufactured. It happened. The transition was very easy. It really was Tony Granger.
But Lynx was only around for about a year, not even a year.
Also, just about a year. No, it was around a year. That max a year. So Lynx,
Tyrant, how long was Tyrant around for in your mind?
Also, give or take a year, man. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Short, eh?
Yeah, very short. Yeah. So and then Lynx did have some interest because it had a little bit more of a commercial rock pop feel, I guess. Not pop, but not as heavy. And we're always going to go with this whole story. Okay, so then the record deal is there. We sign this whole thing. Then the band becomes Tony Granger becomes like a bit of an egotistical kind of character. And he wants us to sign contracts with him that if any of us leave the band, we have to leave our gear.
Advertising demon.
Correct. Dave Hussey was like going, I'm not doing any of that shit. That's final, Dave Hussey didn't give a shit. So anyway, let me tell you. So it was about a year Tyrant, a year Lynx, and then everything just kind of fizzled through. Look, I mean, Tony Granger was quite a control freak, Like, I mean, we did a gig once, man. I mean, this was after Mark Proctor. So Clive was the bass player in the band. And all of us met at the club, and I think, man, it could have been Odyssey or some other rock band from that time. I can't remember who the band was, to be honest with you. And they were on stage, and then they kind of said, "Hey, man, why don't you guys come up and play a song?" So that was us without Tony Granger. So we go up there and we jam a tune. I mean, Clive will probably remember this too. And I can't remember the name of the club. Club 42 or 48 or yes, I can't remember what it was called. In somewhere in Joburg.
42nd Street.
42nd Street, that's it, yes. So we go up there and jam. Man, Tony Granger found out about this, and 3 days later he's shitting all over us. How dare you guys go and do a show, go do a gig without me? Yeah. Dude, we didn't do a gig. We didn't go to the place to play.
Yeah, so he became like an old energy cat woman. He's all but
dude, it became very like I'm the mother.
Dio, can I just say? I remember you were a lighty, and you've turned into the most amazing drummer. And
man, thanks, man. I used to like listen to you and go, how the hell do you do some of that kind of stuff? But I mean, I'll copy you. At least I'll try. I'll try copying. And man, this is like something else. Okay, but obviously, I mean, I had the thing with Tyrant and hang out with you guys, and then Lynx. And then eventually, I mean, after that, the whole rock thing wasn't really working for me, and I started pursuing other goals and other kind of stuff. So over the years, eventually, I became like basically a drum lecturer and a freelance drummer in South Africa. So I've been pro since '95.
Wow!
In South Africa. Amazing. Now I'm in Switzerland and I'm unemployed. But I'm building my room. I'm building my little studio downstairs, all that kind of stuff. So
wow,
it's been quite an adventure. But over to guys like you, can I tell you like how how I joined Tyrant and all that kind of stuff? Because it's quite a cool story, I think. So,
Go for it.
I had been in South Africa after going from leaving Portugal and going to South Africa. My parents were living in South Africa. So I went over there actually on holiday, and then I stayed. This was 1982, August or September. And I had this desire to play drums. I mean, I knew nothing about drums, but I mean, actually, I did know a little bit because I played with the band just around the age of 17. I started playing with the band, and I just learned basic beats, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. I really dig the way it feels and blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, go to South Africa. I started doing an apprenticeship. I did an armature winder apprenticeship, which is basically rewiring electric motors, going down mine shafts, all that kind of stuff. And I started saving money to buy a drum kit. So 8 months later, it's amazing how some of these things I remember like they happened yesterday, and other things are just very vague, But these are like these I could bet my life on. So 8 months later, I go out there and I buy a drum kit at Tom's. I buy the biggest drum kit.
It was Tom.
Yeah, it was the biggest drum kit they had, and it's a Pearl shit drum kit, but it was just massively big, so it was cool. And it was like glass fiber shells, no head at the bottom, but it was a 12-piece kit, so it had like a 6-inch tom all the way just going around to like a 20. What was it? I think it was like a 26-inch floor tom, what it was. So it was probably like, no, it couldn't have been 26, 16, maybe a 16. Single bass drum though, not a double bass drum, just single. And anyway, so then I practiced at home quite a bit, and I'm just listening to the radio and learning stuff from off the radio. And then I just went out there and this is actually how it all started for me. I went out there and I started putting like posters in music shops about drummer looking for a band. And obviously a few weeks went by, or maybe even months, and nothing happened. And I thought, okay, I'm a little disappointed, nothing's happening. And then eventually in 1 week I get 2 calls. One was for a cover band called Key West, and I went and auditioned for them, and I got the gig. And then like 2 or 3 days later, I get this call from this guy, Nipper, Mark Palm.
Oh, Mark Palm,
Yeah, that's right. He calls me up and says, "Hey man, I saw your ad in, and we got a rock band, and just checking if you're interested in doing it." I said, yeah, absolutely. And I'll never forget this, man. I had a 1966 Beetle that I borrowed from my dad. Actually ended up giving it to me, and they got stolen at the Barbican building, by the way. So anyway, long story short, get in the car. There was a drummer that was playing with Tyrant, so there was a drum kit in that room. I didn't have to take my kit for the audition, and so all I remember is, get the address, find the place, park my car somewhere on the street, get out of my car, walk towards, looking for the address, all kind of stuff, and I hear this guitar, man. This guitar was just like the deadliest sounding guitar I'd ever heard in my life. I didn't know there was like stuff like that even existed. And I thought, this is the band that I'm auditioning for. Like, there's no ways I can play with this band because I can't, this is like way beyond me. It turns out that was actually Black Rose. That was Black Rose rehearsing some stuff. And the guitar
That's funny. Rolf just said the same thing about the guitar.
Yeah, Carl, he was playing it, and I heard it from the street, from the road, and I go, whoa. Immediately I thought, okay, that cover band that I just kind of agreed to gig with, I think I'm gonna have to can that, because I really want to do this if I get the gig. I was really like, I don't know if I can get this. And then I go up the stairs. I think there was an old lift or whatever, but I just went up the stairs. Yeah. And eventually I find the room number, and I'm still hearing this guitar, and it's coming from another room. So the room that I went to, that's Tyrant's room. And Chris Gaskell opens the door. I knock on the door, and this blonde guy, obviously I don't know who he was at the time, blonde guy, long hair, opens the door, says, hi. I had short hair then, that was like my early days. And then there was this like, Tony Granger was in there, and we all got introduced, and Mark, obviously, Nipper was there. And then there was this pregnant young woman just sleeping on the floor there, like really pregnant, And I'm going, wow, this is like rock and roll deluxe over here. What's going on? And also the lights in the room. Chris, I don't know if Chris will remember this, I'm sure. The light in the room was like a purplish blue light. It was like kind of like a white lighting. So it gave this, everything was like really like kind of like out there for me, So anyway, get in there, and then eventually, like, turns out the pregnant woman was Tracy, Mark's wife. So anyway, so we have the audition, and I can't remember what song we played. Anyway, whatever, I think it was one of regional songs. I can't remember. And we played a couple more songs, and then the guys said, "Okay, you're in," And I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, this is amazing. Okay, but this was without Sergio. Sergio was not part of the band at that stage. So Tony Granger was actually doing the vocals. I remember this very clearly because he used to scream like high pitch, like and we just jammed. And of course, all guitar amps were like on 13 plus. And you playing drums, and you're trying to like compete to that volume, which is like
Spinal Tap.
Back then was. Yeah. Okay. Correct. Yeah.
Amps going to 11.
No, those Tyrants went up to 13.6, bro. No, it was just a full ball, and there were 2.
I can't believe Tony Granger, the advertising guy, was in a metal scene. I can't believe it.
Yeah. He was, and I mean, he was actually pretty good. I mean, it's just that he had other interests in life. I mean, this was a bit of a hobby for him. It wasn't like really a thing that he wanted to do, I don't think, But anyway, at the time, I mean, I didn't know that. No one else knew that. Anyway, so that's how the band started. Then we started getting some gigs in Vanderbijl Park and stuff. And then, okay, one more gig I've got to tell you about, and then, we can change the topic or reconnect. One of the gigs, it wasn't one of our first gigs, time gigs, but it was one of them. Early days. We played at a place in Joburg, in town, called, this was before Golden Banana gigs that we did. It was called Live Wire. I don't know if any of you guys remember this place. It was like a rock venue. It was a very rough joint. It was the kind of joint that if you looked at someone else's like girlfriend, you could get punched in the nose like a few times. So very Joburg, like heavy.
What was that?
Are you looking at my cheek?
That was like, are you looking at my girlfriend? And then when you said,
Yeah. Are you checking out my chick? And bam.
yeah, no. But when you said like, no, I'm not looking at her, and then he would say, are you saying she's ugly?
Yeah, why aren't you looking at it? Yeah, so you couldn't win, man. It was one of those.
Yeah, you could win.
Anyway, dude, I just want to tell you the story about that live
before you do,
yeah.
We've got
music.
Music. Dude,
you talked about Tom's, and then Neil Fox became Acme Music.
Can you hold Rob, please hold that up again. Oh, Acme Music.
Can you believe it? And I wore it on stage because he asked me to wear it on stage because he used to sponsor a lot of our gear.
He was such a great guy, man. I mean,
cool shirt.
He was a fantastic guy, man. Rest in peace. I mean, I the one time my cymbals all got nicked from the Golden Banana. I think we were playing there Friday and a Saturday, so I just leave everything set up on the Friday. And get there on the Saturday, all the cymbals are gone. And thought, wow, this is kind of like shit vibe, you know. And I mean, you don't have money to just go and buy cymbals anyway. So Neil sorted me out. He lent me these cymbals, and no talk of paying him or nothing. Just, you need the cymbals, take them, and we'll talk about stuff later. A few days later, whoever nicked my cymbals brought them back, and they kind of pushed them in between the gap between the PA and the wall. And I get there, the one I'm, my cymbals are there. Like what's going on? So I call Neil and say, hey man, listen, I was going to buy the cymbals from you, but actually mine are back. And I'd used them already for like at least maybe 2 gigs or something. So there are a few dings. I mean, not dings, but like stick markings. And he said, no problem, just bring mine back. He charged me nothing, dude, nothing. And I used these cymbals for a good 2.
When we did the Black Rose album, he gave us. I mean, I had new drum heads, the full kit, new heads, sticks,
everything. Eh?
He gave us for free. He gave. I mean, did he give you guys strings and he gave you guys everything, didn't he, Bob?
Yeah. I was going to say, not only that, I bought the Jupiter 4 Roland synthesizer off him for about, I think, 2,000 Rand at that time. And I was looking at. I've got it here in my room, and I don't use it, because I've now got like MIDI and all kinds of stuff which I'm still learning about, and it's now worth £6,000.
Yes.
Nice.
Lovely.
He was so nice. He was so helpful. I mean, when Black Rose came back from Port Elizabeth, we were in debt to him. We had stuff on hire purchase. And he said, "I'll pay when you've got it. Don't worry." He was so kind.
Yeah, absolutely. Eh?
Yeah. Are you still playing?
Well, I'm getting involved in the music scene here as we speak. I've got 2 gigs for next month with local people here in Switzerland. I mean, it's obviously. I mean, look, it's been a bit of a tough one for me. I mean, the reason why I couldn't join the meeting earlier, I'm learning to speak German. So, and not because I love the sound of the language, because now I have to understand the Germans around here, and they don't even speak German; they speak Swiss German. But I mean, I got to learn the proper German. Wow. So I go twice a week to this, for 2 hours each time, and do this whole thing. So it's been a little bit of a difficult thing for me. But I mean, I've been playing professionally since '95. I mean, in South Africa, since 1995, playing professionally. Teaching, obviously, also not only playing, teaching, so that's basically what I want to, do here. Ian, speaking of studio, I'm building a studio right now here in the basement.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Let me quickly show you my studio because you'll love it.
Sure, mine is still not even done.
Awesome.
So anyway, so the intention is pretty much to just carry on with the music thing and record stuff, rehearse. Teach, basically continue. Oh man, that looks cool already.
Wow. It's something else. I've been in there and said he has done a good job. Yeah,
something we all dream of.
Yeah. It's just something. I mean, it's nice to have. It's especially these days where you, like you guys are saying, you can you have a decent computer, and we can record. We don't even have to be in the same continent, and we can record shit. So it's like things have changed. I mean, some things are less pleasant than before, but other things have actually made things easier in a way. So it's like that whole thing. Depends what it is that you're chasing after. So it's in many ways. So basically, like, to answer the question, so I'm trying to get into the senior. Been to a dozen. I've been here for it's going to be almost a year now.
Oh wow, that's short, man. I thought you.
Yeah. No. I came here with my wife. I mean, the reason why I'm here because she's Swiss, and she just got tired of living in Joburg. She said, "No, we've got to leave this place. This place is going down the tubes." I mean, which is true. There's a lot of issues there and stuff like that. I mean, I always thought I'll never leave Joburg. Like I'm the Joburg guy. I mean, I understand the people there. They understand me. We are cool with each other.
Can you see what I'm going through?